Welcome. I'm Adam Peter, Technical Marketing Manager for the Autodesk Tandem team, and I'm here today with Mark Morsinkhof, BIM Coordinator for Dur Vermier. Mark, thank you for joining us today. Let's just start by telling me a little bit about your role at Dur Vermier and what you do.
For sure. Dur Vermier exists almost 170 years. We have got 3 divisions. It's like the infrastructure, we've got the building and real estate, and the division I work for is for the installations.
In the group that you work in, what's the challenge that you're trying to solve?
Well, it's a lot, because the installations customers, they ask more of the comfort zones and part of sustainability of how the new buildings are created. So we've got a lot of challenges on that side, especially on the sustainability.
What sort of things are you monitoring in a building, or are you investing from a data standpoint about a building?
Well, it's for sure energy consumption, but also how we are building the installations inside of the building. The installations are a big part of the complete consumption of CO2 inside of a building, because we have to monitor it for like 20 years how the installations perform. From
a delivery standpoint, so like as you're talking to owners, what types of things are they interested in?
It mainly goes about the building controls. And the owners of the building, they put up like a list on how they want the building to work. And we have to engineer the building.
You have to have a pretty early on conversation with those owners to clearly establish what are the interesting things that they want to manage after handover is complete.
Yeah, we have a tender, and they've got a team who's gonna sit down with the customer, and they just want to know what the customer wants.
And then once that happens, there's going to be a number of stakeholders on the facility side, the operations side. Who are those end users that end up consuming that information?
It's different across projects, because sometimes we just have a design and build contract, and sometimes we have a design, build and maintenance contract. And if we do the maintenance, we've got more to say about how the installations is in project, what kind of building controls we are going to use, and how we are going to do that with the sensors inside of the building. If it's part of the project ask the demand of the owner, then we have to put it in. We have one of the projects where we have to do like 15 years of maintenance, and we have one of the goals is it has to be like 80% working the way we engineered it. So we have to gather the data somewhere to show the customer the installations worked more than 80% like we engineered it.
How interesting, because then it becomes very relevant for you to monitor that over time to see how it's performing, not only for them as the owner of that building, but for future projects too. You can sort of assess what worked well, what didn't work well, and that might help inform future projects.
Yeah, for sure. That was one of the goals for me, because if we do a design and a build contract, and we do put in the data for the sensor technology, we want to use the data for ourselves. So we have a building engineered, and how is it performing, and is it performing well? We have to gather that data to better engineer a project in the future. So it's like gathering data for future use. So that's one of the key features I see for the data from a building to the design team. We have got a great office in Utrecht where I work every day. And in that building, we have sensors. They gather data of the room temperature, the CO2 level, the noise level, occupancy level. And with that data, they are sending it to the building control system. And from there, we can see if it's heating or cooling, or do we need to add extra air to that room. So you can monitor everything and how it's working. That project specific was a good case to start with Tandem, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about that experience with Tandem, connecting to some of those sensors.
About 2 years ago, one of your colleagues, Siva, went to our office in Utrecht. He showed me what he can do with the sensor data inside of the Tandem model. And that was the first time I saw a 3D model connected to real-time data on an easy way. Utrecht office was a good case because we had the 3D models, we had the data, so we only had to connect it.
Just talk a little bit about how you made that connection from those devices to Tandem.
We had the Revit model, we have the data in the cloud, so I thought we can connect them to each other. And it started with putting in like a parameter value inside of the Revit model, updated it to Tandem. And with the Tandem API, I could read the parameters from Revit. And from there on, I made like a mapping table. Like this sensor has this. They made a program from the Azure Event Hub to send data to the links I created and just put the data into Tandem. We started to see, 15 minutes of data every 15 minutes, but it wasn't that complex. So we now have like real-time data. It's like sometimes it's like a minute, sometimes it's 15 minutes. It depends because the Azure Event Hub is event-driven. So if there is a change in the sensor value, then it sends new data to Tandem. We've got sensors who measure temperature and CO2, and we've got like flow sensors who measure the airflow inside of the room. So those two are two separate data sources. But we have to see, like, if the CO2 level rises, we have to see that our flow meter, the airflow, is getting higher because the CO2 level has to be dropped. You have data, like, for the room and data from the installation, and you want to map them over each other to see if they are working correctly. It started pretty early with the cooling, but the temperature drops, like, slightly, but not that much, and it just keeps cooling. So in the sustainability point of it, it's putting in a lot of energy inside of that room, but it's not necessary because the temperature is just not right. So that's one of the things we get back to the building owner, and we take all of the things we learned about connecting the Tandem model to the Azure Event Hub for that project. So it's one of the things that it's a benefit of making the connection between Tandem and the building controls. So you see how the data is handled and where they can be better in the future. I saw a lot of projects and where we did like a good Revit model and we handed it over to the owner, but they didn't do anything with it because they didn't know how to handle it and what to do with it. And now they have like a platform like Tandem where you can just see the 3D model and they can also add extra data to it. So I think this is a good way to hand over a project to our customers and say, well, here you have the building inside of a 3D model. And if you want to connect the data to it, we can do as well. And if you have the data connected to it, the sensors connected to it, then you will see the changes there.
As you have worked now for some time, developing your own digital twin and have some experience with Tandem, where would be that low-hanging fruit for them to sort of grab on and get a good foothold into that experience?
Well, it's all about data. Set yourself in like the owner of the building and what kind of information do you want to know? That kind of information you have to be able to store it in the design phase. So start with standardizing your Revit project so you can get out of it what you need on an easy way.
I'm really glad that we had some time to talk today. Thank you for sharing your experience. I think it's gone a long ways to elevate the knowledge base of those who are investing and investigating in digital twins.
Yeah, thank you for the invite.